All right, guys. Morning, good morning. You guys are doing good today. Let me make sure this is up. Yeah, it is. All right, good. What's up, Keegan, Jack, Dave, Steve, Brian, Pawn, VA, Cav? I'm here. I'm on time, kind of. All right. A lot of stuff's going on today. The first thing is that we were green this morning, and now we're kind of red. The reason we're red, microchips kind of turned back down. NVIDIA at 188s, AMD at 247s. The big news is that Alphabet, Warren Buffett, and Berkshire Hathaway is really what's boosting things. In a filing on Friday, it showed that Berkshire Hathaway owned over 17 million shares of Alphabet or Google as of September 30th. Their move comes amid growing concerns over tech valuations, and so this is kind of boosting markets back up a little bit. If you look at Google's at 290s, went all the way as to almost $300 a share. They were at 270s really prior to this catalyst coming out, and now they're at 290. So this is kind of boosting a lot of tech, and we were green mostly on the day, but at this point with the market, the NASDAQ, everything else has kind of turned red. The NASDAQ's technically green. We're at just over 150. We're technically green. Previous closes at like 147s. We're at 157, so about $10 over the red to green level. The S&P, I think, is down slightly. Yeah, S&P is down. It's at 67, 64s right now. If you look at the S&P, slightly down, basically flat this morning and a little bit muted. So that is the news boosting markets. We do have a revised schedule for economic data, and this week we honestly got a bunch of stuff to cover. I'm excited. We actually have economic data this week. Today we have the what is it today? I think it's like the Empire State data, which is pretty small, but we'll cover it anyway. Yeah, we got the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index 830 today. So it's small, but again, we're going to cover it anyway. And then tomorrow we have the ADP job numbers. Wednesday we got the Fed minutes report and NVIDIA earnings. Thursday we have what do we have Thursday? Thursday we have the September NFP labor report is on Thursday. We do have stuff Thursday. And so we just got a lot of stuff to cover. Bitcoin at 95,000 still, under 100K, been consolidating here. If you look at the move for Bitcoin, here's a 5-minute chart. I mean, it hit almost 93s on Sunday, and so it was pretty red. You guys can see this. Let me make sure you guys can. Yeah. But go so you guys can actually see Bitcoin. Bitcoin right below me here. I'm gonna have to like stretch this out maybe. Adjust this. That or something. There we go. All right, we fixed it, and we'll see if the NASDAQ can get higher. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Again, we had some news break over the weekend. The BLS did revise their data. I think the we get PCE next week, not this week, but next week. We get the delayed PCE report. If we take a look at Treasury yields, they're back up a little bit this morning here. They're up to 4.119%. Friday, we had a bunch of Fed members come out and essentially be a little bit more hawkish than expected. So we're at almost 4.15% for yields. 4.15%, but we are down a little bit on the day after being up a little bit on Fridays. 4.119. We were at 4.15, so you can see here's the day started. We're actually a little lower today, actually. And then if we look at the Fed watch tool, rate cut odds, they are all the way down to 45% on hawkish Fed members. And so again, a lot of this is going to depend on what the data shows up as. This is subject to change drastically, depending on what the data shows up as on Thursday, Wednesday next week. And so yeah, it's finally time we get some reports. We haven't had reports in like a month plus at this point in time, like a month and a half, really. We've had some reports. And again, the good news about all of this is now every Tuesday we're going to be getting another labor report from ADP every Tuesday. About the prelim. I don't know. It's called like the prelim something. The prelim something. It's the prelim. I think it's like the preliminary. All right, I gotta look this up. ADP preliminary. Okay, let me see. There's a name for it. Weekly preliminary estimate of labor. What this is called. The weekly prelim estimate of labor is what this is. And we're gonna get that every Tuesday. And it's private payroll data, so sometimes it's more accurate anyway. Alright, NASDAQ is chopping sideways. We also had the Affirm CEO say that humanoid robots are not coming for our jobs. Again, he said humanoid robots are not coming for our jobs, according to the Affirm AFRM CEO Max Levchin. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says the benefits of AI are just beginning, but you can't replace human capital at the American Business Forum in Miami. I think that was like a couple weeks ago, actually. Car loan delinquencies are surging. The car owners struggling to make car payments, especially like subprime. Share of subprime borrowers, those with a poor limited credit history and a score between 501 and 600, who are at least 60 days late on their auto loans, rose to 6.65% in October. It's the highest since 1994, according to data released by Fitch. Chief economist at VantageScore said, quote, auto loans have not followed the trends of other credit products as delinquencies have been persistently trending up across all credit tiers and income groups over the past 15 years, end quote. Even after the industry tightened lending criteria 3 years ago, delinquencies have continued to rise. Who has a sub 600 credit score? I'm not judging. I'm sure I at one point had one when I was a teenager or something. But still. They need to be buying like a $2,000 junk car. Me? Oh, yeah. Do you think the tension between China and Japan will impact the market in the USA today? I think we already got that news last week regarding Taiwan. I think we got that news last week. I think any impact is probably already there, unless we start to get more updates from it. I think we already saw that impact, really. You just described the middle class of America with a sub 600 credit score, a 500 something credit score. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. You might be right. Is he right, chat? Let me know right now. I don't know. I do see that Japan's prime minister is set to meet with the Bank of Japan's Ueda on Tuesday. I do see that news. So the UBS chair talked to Besson on moving the Swiss bank to the United States, according to Financial Times. Yeah, one of Warren Buffett's last moves as the Berk CEO was to buy Google Alphabet shares. Like Google or Alphabet shares. And Google's up today. If you look at Google on the top right, here's Google. And again, Michael Burry's excited right now. Why? Because we've seen some corrections in tech. If you look at Burry on Twitter, he's posting. And again, I love a good Lord of the Ring reference here. But he said, one chart to refute them all. And he posted this chart right here. And again, you can kind of see this. Here's my computer forced an update and restarted again, bro. I'm kind of nervous about it today. Where's my pen? Epic pen, that's what it's called. Okay. And again, what this is here, show you guys. NASDAQ all-time high. This is now, right here. This was peak July 2014 in energy. This was S&P 500 peak in fourth quarter of 2007. And this was the NASDAQ peak in first quarter of 2000. So, he's saying there's a correlation there, I guess. And, again, like I said, I love a good Lord of the Rings reference. He ended up posting this. And so we'll see what happens. Let's see if Burry's right. Fed holding an emergency meeting for rate cuts. I would have heard about that. I genuinely, sincerely doubt that that's what's going on. Because, see, the problem is that, like, okay, you got to be really careful with these crypto guys. All right, you got to be really, really careful with these crypto guys. Why? Because there's a bunch of social media crypto pages, and I'm not even saying they're wrong about this one. And I like crypto. I'm in Bitcoin. I'm in a bunch of other stuff. I want crypto to go up. But some of these social media pages just sensationalize everything to try to get attention on social media, right? Now, it might be true. I'm trying to see if there's a real... Like, honestly, just looking through the crypto people, like, so they said there was there's breaking, there's an emergency meeting for the Fed. They said it was yesterday. Then there was another one that said it was on November 7th. And then there was another one that said it is going to be today. And so at a certain point, it's hard to tell whether this is actually true or not. And again, when you look at just purely crypto, altcoin, social media pages, you just got to just be careful. Like during the shutdown, every day they would be like, there's rumors the shutdown is ending today. Most of the time they're just trying to get attention, or trying to give some bull case for markets going up. And again, I'm not saying they're wrong, but they're usually just more wrong, you know. So see, another person said it was on the 15th yesterday, which was the 16th. Even some of the other, like, on Wednesday, we don't get an FOMC meeting. It's the Fed minutes report. It's a detailed response and kind of like paper drawn about why they chose to do what they did the last Fed meeting. It's not another Fed meeting on Wednesday. In some of these, an emergency hearing will take place Monday before the Fed's next closed-door meeting on Wednesday. The Fed does not have a meeting on Wednesday this week, guys. Like, it's just, some of the stuff is just not true. Now, there might be an emergency meeting. I'm not saying there's not, and I see a bunch of different crypto bros posting about this. But it's hard to tell whether, you know, some of this stuff is true. I'm trying to see an actual source, and mostly on November 14th. So what was this? Friday? It looks like the New York Fed held a meeting with major banks for lending concerns. But I don't see a real source talking about this outside of altcoin, crypto, you know. So I think there was a meeting, but I don't think it had to do with rate cuts. And I think it's over now. You know? If it was a big emergency meeting where they would emergency cut, look at the NASDAQ turn down here. If it was a big emergency meeting where they might emergency cut rates, we would hear about that. Outside of altcoin social media pages. So you just got to take some of these. Like, some of these are just... I noticed it during the shutdown, where like a lot of these crypto pages are posting economic data that's not actually coming out. Like, the data's not coming out, but they're like oblivious to it, and they're just trying to get clicks. And so you just got to be careful. I like crypto, but some of the social media pages seem kind of toxic. Until I win, I am not leaving the market no matter what. How many predictions these guys made in the last 20 years that didn't come out right? Yeah. And I'm in crypto. Like, I want crypto to go up. I don't think... It's one of those things where, like, you don't have to agree with everything crypto social media pages say or do just because you like crypto. You know? But again, what's really going to move the odds of rates is going to be the data that we get Thursday, Wednesday, next week. We get PCE inflation next week. We get GDP data next week. This week we get Fed minutes, Nvidia earnings. And more importantly to inflation, probably, or rate cut odds, I should say, is the delayed NFP report this Thursday. And then next week we get PCE data, we get GDP data, and more Wednesday next week as well. We also get the ADP labor report, weekly preliminary labor report tomorrow. And so we got a bunch of stuff that might influence those odds, yields, and all that other stuff. So far, this is what they're showing us, which is just Thursday, November 20th, which is Thursday. We're going to get the employment situation report. Friday the 21st, we're going to get real earnings and stuff like that. But they did start updating. I don't know. The only one I don't know that there's two of them, or three of them really, that I don't know when we're getting. PPI inflation, no idea when we're going to get that. We missed that for October. We missed that for September's data. So PPI inflation is, who knows when we're going to get that. Retail sales is done by the Census Bureau. I don't know when we're going to get that either. JOLTS job opening report, I don't know when we're going to get that. I think that's done by the BLS as well. And so I don't know when we're going to get some of that data. But yeah. Nvidia at 188. Yeah, Nvidia earnings. Yeah, Makachev, dude. He was gonna win that. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, so I kind of hope JDM wins. But I thought Makachev was gonna win. No. When everyone says it's the time to buy. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten some moves the last few days here, but they've been back and forth, and now the market's kind of flat, sideways. We'll see what we get. But we've got some moves. Again, we got the Empire State Manufacturing Index data today, which we're going to stream and cover like we always do. But yeah. Oh, let me do a poll. I haven't done a poll today, guys. My bad. Let me see. What's a good poll question? I think, will we cut rates in December is probably a pretty good one, no? Will we cut rates in December? Vote on that poll. That poll is now live. Yeah, Nvidia earnings Wednesday is probably the biggest catalyst we have this week, despite Nvidia. Maybe I would say Nvidia earnings is the biggest. It also could be, like, we also could look at the NFP report. We're going to cover both, but I would say Nvidia earnings have the biggest potential here. In the wake of all the fear going on in microchips, Nvidia is the biggest microchip company. The biggest chip company, the biggest AI company is Nvidia, and they dropped their quarterly earnings Wednesday. We also, a couple hours before that, have the FOMC minutes report. So we got the FOMC minutes report followed by Nvidia earnings. So it'll be interesting for sure. See what happens with all this stuff. But yeah, Nvidia earnings Wednesday, FOMC minutes report, NFP report Thursday. A lot of stuff could move the markets this week. Yeah, we'll do an Nvidia poll later. I got you. You watched the last UFC? I did. That was a great card too. That was just a good card. Except for, I mean, the main event was, you could argue, boring, but I didn't find it boring. How about Morales, bro? Morales is gonna be champ, I think. He looks like Alex Pereira when he strikes. John Brady's good too. Yeah. Anyways, NASDAQ break it down. We're at 25 140s here. Still looking weak. Looks a little heavy. I'm watching 125 and 100s down here. We got that 25,000 level right here. So we're not that far away if we hold. But the market's been interesting. I wonder, is data coming back this week? Yes, data is coming back. Again, NFP report Thursday. Fed minutes report Wednesday. Next week, we got PCE inflation. Tomorrow, we got the prelim ADP report. Today, we got New York Empire State Manufacturing data at 8:30. All right, so I asked people, will we cut rates in December? 65% of the votes so far say yes. 35% say no. And again, Michael Burry celebrating. Do you guys think Michael Burry is correct in his thesis of overvaluations in AI and tech? How's the Dow doing today? The Dow ran up a little bit last week and then fell just because people are hedging away from the tech-centered NASDAQ. I don't know. It kind of gave back all the gains it made. No one's going to beat the Dagestani wrestlers for a long time. I mean, some people might win, but like, even Valentina, right? She destroyed Wile. And so, again, the difference in the two countries is that they're taught grappling as almost like a national sport from a very young age. They're taught sambo and wrestling and, you know, judo. It's just different. They have so, like, it's just different. It's gonna be hard to beat that. You seen the odds lately? The odds for what? Knowing how big corporations act when it comes to their bottom line, there's always similarity in bubbles. Yeah, and again, I've said this pretty regularly for the last really 6 months plus. There's some mirroring effects of now versus 2000. Again, internet was that next big technology, but companies went greedy and overvalued themselves. Short term, we got a bubble bursting in 2000 from it. And in hindsight, the internet was the next big thing that was justifiable to be hyped about, but overvaluations in that time period remained. Very similar thing going on right now in a lot of people's minds. AI overvalued, PE ratios are high. AI is that next big thing. Although I was using it this morning, and even the ones that I normally use that are accurate, bro, I had to like argue. Like, listen to this conversation I'm having with AI this morning. And this is why AI certainly isn't perfect yet. I basically said, hey, give me an update on what's going on in markets today. And I even gave it a date, like November 14th or November 17th. November 17th, 2025. And it basically just said the government is reopened today. I was like, no, the government was reopened last week. And it starts telling me tomorrow, retail sales and PPI data is coming out. And I basically have to argue with it and says, I said, what about retail sales? It's coming out tomorrow and PPI. And I basically had to continue arguing with it for some time here. And I'm like, show me a source regarding PPI and retail sales. Oh, you're right. I misread that. And then it said it again. It said retail sales dropping tomorrow. I said, where's your source? Send me your source. I was like, this is what they have so far on the site. Oh, you're right. I'm wrong. My bad. And then I said, okay, now with this updated information, summarize what's going on today. And then it said it again. It said tomorrow. Retail sales PPI. I'm sitting there looking this up thinking it's right. AI, man, just out of control. Just telling me things this morning. Just telling me things. All right, so we do have some updates here. Again, Bitcoin flat at 95,000. We are still not getting the jobs data. What do you mean? Yeah, AI, it's hard to pull. Now, we're getting jobs data. We're getting labor data Thursday. This week, Thursday. 8:30. September NFP report. Regarding the future one, I don't know. Friday, we get something else. And then next week, we get PCE inflation on, I think it's Wednesday, PCE inflation. I think Wednesday we also get the updated GDP data. We get GDP data next Wednesday, PCE data next Wednesday. This week we get Fed minutes on Wednesday. We get NFP data Thursday. Tomorrow we get the ADP report as well. Again, we had some Fed members speak, I think it was Friday, specifically Kashkari, Schmid. They were worried about sticky inflation. And so we did get some updates for them. And that's kind of why the odds of rates have gone down so much, is because they're worried about inflation problems. And we don't really have any inflation data. The last inflation data we got was from September's report that released in October. And it showed 3% inflation. For headline CPI, it actually went up slightly, but the rest of it actually went down, but it's still around 3%. And again, if you look at the odds, 45% likely we cut rates. It's still pretty split, though. This is nothing because we have data coming out. And so I don't know what we're going to do in December. I still think I'm going to go with my own bet of 25, 25, 25 in terms of this year rate cuts. But December, certainly, if I am wrong about one, it's going to be December, because at this point, it's not even a majority likely. And again, the labor reports that we get are going to move this. The labor reports we get are going to move it. Oh yeah, today we got the Netflix split, right? The Netflix split happens today. Yo, it already happened. So the Netflix split happened. It's down to $110 per share, $110 per share. Again, the Netflix split happened. We have Novo speaking. Novo says lower U.S. prices to help counter copycat threat. We also had Fitch come out and say UK Eurozone inflation gap is going to narrow in 2026. Airbus apparently is very, very happy with engines on its aircrafts. Airbus says that the president Boeing support requires harder work. What did I buy last week? I think I bought Disney. Slightly down on Disney, but I'll probably just sit in it. Some of these I will start to cut if the market trends too weak. All right, looking at our poll, 63% think we will cut rates in December, 37% say no. Yeah, this is the NASDAQ 100 here. This is the NQ, the NASDAQ 100. Look, we're dropping down. We're at 125s. We're kind of giving it back this morning. It looked a little bit more optimistic today. There's 125. I'm still watching 125s. But yeah, the NASDAQ, it started okay. Sunday session, I think, was pretty bullish, actually. But then we just started breaking down this morning. Again, we're up today specifically because Google, Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett revealed a $4.9 billion position in them. I don't know, Netflix just split, so they dropped down from $1,100 a share to $110 a share. They just split. They're also down. I don't hate buying Netflix right here, to be honest. But I think I'm just going to wait as well. Future jobs data will be AI generated. Maybe, eventually. Mostly dog water. I don't know. AI being good for mental health, I think it's somewhere in between. I think while it's good to talk to somebody, it's better to talk to an actual person. Because the reason it feels good to have therapy with people, and I'm not really a big therapy guy, to be honest, but like, do what you want to do. The reason it's good is because you want to feel like they have empathy. You know? And AI systems don't, unfortunately. And so I think it's a slippery slope, but it's a split, Tiny. So they restructured their company to, they basically 10x the amount of shares and reduce the price by 10x to compensate for what they did. That's what a split is. That means they're splitting their company into smaller. They're lowering their share price. And so an example of this is if you have 10 shares of Netflix, you now have 100 shares at a much cheaper price. Basically, is what it is. Yeah, this was Buffett's last move. One of his last moves. You know, Buffett is stepping down from Burke. I think it's early next year, January next year. And so, also Morgan Stanley says the dips are being bought. The S&P 500 futures are 1.5% above Friday's low. So they hiked the S&P target for next year. Who was overvalued? Yeah, I mean, so you might remember reverse splits, right? Reverse splits are basically like failing penny stock companies that don't want their price to look too cheap will do the opposite, which is they will consolidate shares more so. So they will take shares away and then raise the price of each share to artificially make their company look healthier than it is. That's why some penny stocks, when you look back at the history of it, it'll be like these wild, huge numbers. It's not all penny stocks. There's some other reasons, like ETFs, inverse ETFs and stuff like that sometimes have reason to do this, but yeah, I mean, look at Netflix. Netflix at 110 is down a little bit on the day. The NASDAQ's trading down. Here's oil. Oil's over 60 again. Again, AMD at 240s. Apple is at 269s this morning. Nvidia is probably one of the biggest ones, though. Nvidia filling some of the gap from yesterday, or from Friday, back down to 188. It's got as high as 193s in after hours Friday. Probably on the Warren Buffett news. Again, Bitcoin sitting at 95,000 right now, 95K. I think the data is going to show a big slowdown in the economy. The Fed will start emergency cuts early next year. I don't think they're going to do emergency cuts. It depends, really. I don't think we're going to get jobless claims, personally, on Thursday. No, I don't think we are. So China tells us not to arm Taiwan and vows to defend the sovereignty. Yeah, I don't think we're getting jobless claims. Let me see. Jobless claims data report done by the Department of Labor. Yeah, the last jobless claims report we got is September 25th. Claims data. Yeah, I don't even think we have an update on whether we're going to get jobless claims. It says November 26th, which is next Thursday. But I don't see anything about it. Maybe. Yeah, so when a stock splits, it's valued the same. The point is to keep everything valued the same, but restructure the shares, right? Like if for Netflix here, you know, Netflix, in their mind, you got to think of it like this. They're going to say, hey, well, $1,100 plus a share is getting kind of expensive. That might actually hurt interest in buying our company because shares are so expensive. And so let's 10x the amount of shares we have, but lower the price by 10x, right? And so it goes from 1,100 down to 110. Now it's less than $150 a share. More people can afford it. It's worth the same. The market cap is the same, but they've restructured it to make it more affordable, essentially. It's not Thanksgiving Day. It's the day before Thanksgiving. So Wednesday next week we get the 26th, maybe the 27th. I don't know. You might be right. Wednesday, though, is when we have PCE next week and some other stuff. Yeah. I do see the situation over there looking a little sketchy at this point in time. All right, let's maybe trade. The market looks weak here. So maybe we can get into some trades, find something to do here today. Definitely looking weak. If we start breaking lows of Friday, then it's nerve-wracking. I mean, that's way down there at 24s. But if we start cracking lows from Friday, it's looking kind of sketchy. Here's 25 ones. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to go. Bitcoin's still holding over 95K ahead of the US Open. If it continues here. I don't know what I want to do with this. Again, I think we got to just watch tech. It looks weak, but it's also kind of low. If Nvidia cracks under 180, I think that's obviously not good for tech. Oh yeah, we do have the Empire State Manufacturing data today at 8:30. We'll cover it. Not big, but we'll cover it. And then tomorrow, guys, remember, tomorrow we do have some earnings this week. We got Home Depot tomorrow before the opening bell. We got Baidu. We got some other stuff. I think we have like Walmart this week, right? We got Target Wednesday, Wix Wednesday, TJ Maxx, Lowe's, Nvidia, Walmart on Thursday. Yeah. We got some earnings this week as well. Look at our poll. 63% think yes, we do cut rates in December. Right, so we moved up and we tapped that 125 level. All right, we're at 188 for Nvidia right now too. Bitcoin is mostly just been sideways. Again, I asked people this early. Do you guys think Michael Burry's correct about tech overvaluations and a correction? Apple? I would assume Apple, if tech is overvalued and all that stuff, Apple might be one of the ones that's more resilient just because they don't have... and if you guys want me to look at some stocks, I'll take a look at them, just list them. But Apple is not as entrenched in AI as others, and so they might be more resilient if we do see a correction there for Apple. Incorrect, yes, he's correct. One day, but not today. You have to be on time to be correct. Of course, he's correct. I think he could be. Yeah, I think he could be. I don't know if he is. I think he might be early. Deutsche targets cost income ratio below 60% by 2028. They target their targets to maintain the CET1 ratio at 13.5 to 14%. They target a 60% payout ratio of net profit from 2026. They target revenue about 37 billion euros in 2028, greater than 13% ROTE by 2028. Kroger renews a deal with PayPal to buy up to 65 billion euros of loans. All right, I might buy this now and take a little swing on the upside here. It's a little risky, but it's small, and we can do it. If we rebound a little bit here. Bitcoin, though, look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin just flushed back down, too. Low of the day? No. Low of the last few hours. A little early, I think he is, or missed the drop this time. Yeah, here's Deutsche's numbers. Yeah, in this position, I mean, it's small. I'm gonna let it test 125, but we will cut this if it doesn't hold. I like the sideways movement here. Reduce my size a little bit, just basically nothing here. We'll add back. Yeah, I don't know, man. Look, Bitcoin, throughout its life, so many different people have projected Bitcoin to fail. And if you look at a long-term chart on Bitcoin, like if you look at one of these, man, Bitcoin has dipped so much. I remember Bitcoin going up to like 65,000 and then it dropped to like, it was 74,000. It dropped down to 50. Yeah, Bitcoin went from 70 to under 20, and down to 15s. Sure, people were saying the same thing then, and then the bull run started. And so I don't know if this drop, I mean, even if you look at this trend here, but on a longer term perspective, doesn't that look like the trend? I'm not saying it is. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything here. Don't copy me. But Doesn't this look like the trend here? Right below me, doesn't this look like the trend? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it kind of looks like it now. I think there's just a lot of people that missed out on Bitcoin. But they kind of confirmation bias, like they want it to fail. Sound like some kind of investment professional. I'm the least professional financial person in the world right now. Don't copy me. No idea what I'm talking about half the time. Some of you guys would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm day trading here, guys. Got some extension short term. I think we might bounce back. But either way, it'll be fine no matter what. We cut it. This is a very small position. Poking around in markets, looking for an edge. I just want to see if we rebound some. Oh yeah, no, I see it. I got your pawn. No, it's this industry standard, Chad. Why every financial person says not financial advice. Yeah. Ready to buy AMD at a discount? It ain't my fault disclaimer. Yeah, that's right. You guys know. Al said December pause. He didn't say December pause. What he said, and this was last, I don't know if he said this. I think he said this during the last meeting. He didn't say December pause. He said, we haven't made a decision on what we're going to do in December, is essentially what he said the last meeting, right? So he essentially said he hasn't made up his mind. And honestly, according to the Fed members that spoke Friday, we don't really know what we're going to get. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just cut this. It's just, like, we looked sideways for a second. I think it was justifiable, but it's a small trade. We'll see if we can get back from it. But no, some of the Fed members spoke Friday, and they were a lot more hawkish than people expected. This is what pushed back the odds. This is what pushed yields up and all that stuff. It's just essentially some of these Fed members that are going to influence what we do come out a little bit more hawkish. Let me see if I can find the exact quotes. See how good AI is. Again, Nvidia's still breaking down around 187s. So for the first time, the Fed will surprise the markets. No, at this point in time, the odds are 45% for a rate cut in December. But again, we'll see what we get from this economic data that we have coming out this week and next week, and really for the rest of this year. We got economic data releasing that might change the odds. We haven't gotten it in the last couple minutes. So NEC Director Hassett is going to be on CNBC at 8:10 Eastern Time. So that's in 5 minutes. So Hassett's going to be speaking in 5 minutes on CNBC. Michael Saylor buying another 8,178 Bitcoin worth 835 million. So that's a larger Bitcoin purchase. Again, another 8,200 Bitcoin roughly worth 830 plus million dollars. Stifel also raises the Tesla price target. Tesla has kind of gotten beat up the last few days too. It went all the way down to the 300s for a little while. It's back up to over 400, but it's been dropping significantly as well. Apple. And JP Morgan says the iPhone 17 wait times stay high as demand outpaces supply. Nasdaq sinking. I would say the Nasdaq sideways. I think the edge, the risk that we break lows and momentum push down is too high for me. That's why I got out. I'd rather get out small than risk losing more. Now's your chance to buy. Don't be fearful of the market. Markets can turn around faster than you can buy into it. You guys are given a second chance. Don't waste it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's terrible. I think if you hold long term, regardless of where we go, we'll still probably be green, but it might take some time. All right, so the European Union is going to warn Lutnick against expanding scope of U.S. steel tariffs. Evercore ISI is asking whether it's time to buy NVIDIA. They reaffirmed the outperform rating and a 261 price target, saying it expects a beat and raise report thanks to strong demand and better GB200 and GB300 supply. They said that NVIDIA still looks undervalued at 30x forward earnings and a 0.55 PEG with AI demand driving capacity directly. Rising cloud CapEx and a larger Blackwell Rubin pipeline than street estimates are also further upside potential for NVIDIA. We'll see. We'll see. Bitcoin is cooked. Short term. All right, Nasdaq still looking weak here. Still breaking down. Again, NVIDIA, Netflix did do their split. NVIDIA is under 190s again at 187s, broke below it. Honestly, the market's opened up really green this morning. Really green this morning. And then this happened in NVIDIA. It dropped from 192.50 all the way down to 187.50. The microchips and tech essentially fell back down this morning after looking a little bit more optimistic today. December rate cut is confirmed. Not yet. Too much data coming out before then. We get really weak labor data for September, really weak labor data for October, really weak jobless claims, really weak GDP data, relatively reasonable PCE and CPI and PPI inflation data. If we do get those, that might push the odds back. But again, at this point, we're 50-50 split. Even where the odds are right now, it's 45-55. That's not a sure thing. And so right now, it's just, we don't know what we're going to do in December. So on Friday, November 14th, Neil Kashkari stated that he did not support the Fed's last interest rate cut in October and that he is undecided on the December meeting. He had previously been anticipating more cuts this year. His shift to opposing the October cut and being undecided in December shows some of the Fed members are worried about inflation, right? Goolsbee, typically considered a dove in favor of cuts, has expressed similar sentiments to the hawks, joining them in warning against cutting rates again. When even the doves on the committee like Goolsbee start sounding cautious, it makes people worry about rate cuts. Some of the other hawkish voices in the Fed, Lori Logan, Jeffrey Schmid, Beth Hammock. I think Schmid spoke again. Didn't Schmid speak? Well, could be hawkish. Anything, the shutdown? Yeah, the shutdown definitely made jobs weaker. I mean, obviously. I mean, you mean furloughing a bunch of employees doesn't help jobs numbers? But yeah, it's the shutdown certainly made things a little worse economics wise. Nasdaq still dumping here. Good thing I sold mine. Again, Nvidia breaking down, looking weak. Google's dropping some, but it's not that much. Apple's falling down here. Apple's got one of the steep declines. Look at Apple up here. Apple's falling. Amazon filing for a 6-point note offering. They didn't discuss the size, but a 6-part notes offering for Amazon. I'm wondering if this is Hassett speaking. Let me see if I can find where Hassett's speaking right now. Hold on, let me see. He's going on CNBC. Hold on. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ turn. NVIDIA down to 187. Bitcoin under 95,000. You going on Squawk Box? Yeah, so I don't see Hassett speaking right now. I see one of the JP Morgan guys speaking. NASDAQ's flushing though here. Look at this drop. Again, the EU is to win. U.S. Commerce Secretary Lucknick against expanding scope of steel tariffs. We already saw that. Market's falling right now, guys. Look at this drop. Again, the level I think is relevant here. 25,000 right here. 25K. We are right here. 25,000, big psychological level. Big psychological level. We break underneath that, it's looking bloody again today. It's already kind of looking red. We started off green and NASDAQ has just turned. Previous closing price is about 190 on NVIDIA, 272 on Apple. Again, the Google news helped prop the market up this morning, and now we're since falling back down. Netflix did their split, their 10x split. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to long this right now. Too steep of a decline. I don't really see any breaking news that would cause this except for the Amazon news. Let's see how Amazon is reacting to things. Could be Amazon dropping, but... yeah, something just happened. I don't really see any reason. I think markets are just scared right now. We might start continuing that fear from last week, I think. Oh yeah, we got the Empire State data coming out here. Let me cover that. You have the Empire State data coming out. I don't think it's going to move markets, but it might. Or wait, is it Empire State or is it New York Fed? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, it's the Empire State. Okay. It's expected at 610. Last time was 10.7. 6.10. Last time was 10.7. It's definitely a scary market. 100%. Yeah, the market's definitely a little scarier. Bounced here at 54. Video's trying to climb back up. Google bouncing back up a little bit here as well. The question is, do we hold over 25,000 today? Big players are buying, and so are the institutions. Yeah. Watch 25.1 right here. 25.1 is right here. Yeah, let me look. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the yen. Falling down some. Tap 25.1 right here. Bitcoin all the way down to 94s. But it's testing 95. 95 is right here. I think that's the big level today. NASDAQ starting to pop right back up. Basically right back to where we were here. Google, Nvidia both rebounding here. Here's Bitcoin at 95,000. Hold on. Yeah, I see the big fear index. Fear and greed index is at fear for sure. I saw that over the weekend. What a rebound back up here, though. Broke down big and then we fell back dead. All right, so agricultural SEC Roland says confidence China will buy U.S. soybeans. Basically it. Again, we're supposed to have, it was at 8:30 Eastern time, which was 8 minutes ago. NEC Director Hassett on CNBC. 8:10 Eastern time. Hold up CNBC. Oh, there he is. He's speaking right now. Hold on. Let me see what he's saying. The wage increases we're seeing should continue higher, even if inflation stays higher. Make it so people feel way better when they go to the grocery store, buy a car. We've reduced the cost to buy a car with deductibility of interest. There's lots of things we're doing to fix this problem, but it's kind of astonishing to me. Cost problem somehow being blamed on us, especially. I'll keep listening to what he says, but yeah, I mean, a rate cut's definitely looking less likely. It's definitely looking less likely. I want to do another poll. We did the December rate cut option. I want to do another poll here. And the question is going to be, does the market rebound and go green today or stay red? All right, guys. So we got this poll going live right now. Does the market rebound and go green today, or does it continue its downward push? We got three options: green, red, or sideways. Vote on that poll. Google green, everything else is red. Yeah, I mean, Google's already pretty green on the day when everything else is red, but it's starting to give it back. The previous closing price is $277. We're at $287, so we're about $10 away still. They're asking about an India trade deal now. He said, were we ever close? He said, yeah, we were for sure very close. This is Hassett speaking. He said, I spoke to the ambassador. We've had visits. And I think that it's a complicated situation because the interaction. Yeah. He said if you were running the Fed, they're talking to Hassett. All right, now we're pushing back down here, guys. Look at this. Yeah, sorry, I'm listening to Hassett. He said we're very close to reaching a deal with India. All trade deals have received exemptions. Real wages have gone up. This move will continue. All right, we'll keep listening to this. I'm going to put the music up and we'll just give you guys some of the quotes from this. Green. Yeah, looking at our poll options, 44% think green, 42% think red. Also, we had Schmid speak. One of the reasons the odds for rate cuts went down, Schmid said that more rate cuts would do little to help the slowing labor market, which he believes is facing, quote, structural changes in technology and immigration. He stated that further cuts could have long-lasting effects on inflation as our commitment to 2% objective increasingly comes into question. He confirmed that the same rationale he used to dissent, which is vote against the October cut. He also noted that inflation is still too high and that his concern is not just about tariffs. He said he hears widespread concerns about rising healthcare costs and insurance premiums and a lot about electricity. He reiterated that his view that Fed policy is currently only modestly restrictive and that financial markets conditions appear to be easy across many metrics, none of which suggest policy is too tight. Please tell me which chart I should refer to when I hear we're in trouble when the bond spread widens. They're talking about one of the things that can sometimes precede recessions and market corrections is inversions, yield inversions. Was there emergency meeting about this weekend? Anyone know? Again, I said this earlier. A lot of this is due to like rate cuts, or is due to crypto bros. Because again, I heard a lot of rumors about an emergency FOMC meeting, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't an emergency FOMC meeting. Pretty sure it was a. I think maybe the New York Fed did one. New York Fed convened meeting with Wall Street firms over lending facility. But I don't think it was like a. People are saying, "Oh, emergency rate cuts." No, it's not the same Fed. This is one of the regional Fed, New York Fed. So it's a different thing. Again, look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin rejected 95,000 and it just cracked lows of the last few hours here. Or at least it's very close to lows of the last few hours, breaking down. Yeah, it could be about liquidity. Yeah, Hassan said all trade deals have been received exemptions and are close to finalizing with India. Again, MicroStrategy bought 8,178 Bitcoin for $835 million during November 10th through the 6th. And so, strategy buying the dip in Bitcoin. Hassett also, regarding the labor market, says there could be a little bit of almost quiet time in the labor market. He said, I am seeing mixed signals in the job market, positive signals in the outlook market. And he also said it's time for the Fed to be data-driven. You guys agree with him? Bitcoin breaking down at 94.7s right now, 94.7s. Nvidia at 187.50s here, 187.50s. In 3 minutes, we got the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index for November. It's expected at 6.1. Last time it was 10.7. Again, New York Empire State Manufacturing for November, 6.1. Last time was 10.7. We will see what we get today. That releases in about 2.5 minutes. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. Bro, I'm not going to... again. That has nothing to do with me. There's zero chance I'm talking about something super controversial like that. That's just not what I'm going to do here. Okay. What's better, higher numbers or lower? Well, higher shows more strength. Lower shows more weakness in manufacturing. And so I would say lower is probably worse, higher is better, but it depends on whether you want rate cuts or not. All right, guys, we got a minute and a half left. I got beer money. Yeah, he bought $835 million worth of Bitcoin over the last week. So, Michael Saylor. Nasdaq's kind of finding some support and rebounding back up. Bitcoin's still looking kind of weak though. Look at Bitcoin break down here. 94.6s right now. 94.6s for Bitcoin. We got less than a minute before this data. I don't know how much this data is going to move things. I mean, we'll cover it like we always do. I just don't know if it's going to move anything right now. We'll see. All right, guys, here we go. Look at Bitcoin. Whoa. Look at this drop in Bitcoin, guys. Look at this drop right here. Bitcoin down to 94.4s. Broke down about $200 worth. Back up to 94.5s. Bitcoin fading down into this report. Again, Empire State Manufacturing data. Drops in about 10-15 seconds. See what it shows. Again, 10.7 is what's expected, or 10.7 was previous. Today they're expecting 6. Here we go. Report. Again, put it in live mode, put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up. Here's the report. All right, 18.7 is what it showed up as. 18.7. Way stronger than expected. 18.7 Empire State Manufacturing Index versus 610. Again, 18.7 versus 610. That's much stronger than expected. Nasdaq's actually turning down a little bit, but again, the Empire State Manufacturing 18.7 versus 610. Way stronger than expected. Noticeably stronger than expected. 18.7 versus 610. Last time was 10.7, so it's stronger than last time and stronger than expected for the Empire State Manufacturing Index. Nasdaq did not like this for some reason. Look at this flush. 25 ones, 25.07s. See if we can break down under 25.054s. But man, market's reacting weak to this. We also had Canadian data show up, Chad, just to be, so you understand it. Canadian CPI showed up 2.9%. They expected 3.1%. 0.2% on the month. They expected 0.2%. So better than expected for inflation for Canada as well. But again, New York Empire State showed up 18.7 versus 6.1. NASDAQ did not like this. Let me see if this is moving yields. Yeah, yields have been riding higher this morning. Showing a higher interest rate sentiment, less likelihood of rate cuts. Bitcoin just flushed all the way back down again here. Here's yields. Again, and the reason this is higher is because stronger manufacturing, like stronger labor in some ways, and less need to cut rates. So yields and interest rates follow each other. If we have a higher chance of rate cuts, yields will drop. Lower chance of rate cuts, yields will increase. Look at Bitcoin though. Bitcoin down to 94.3s right now, chat. Nvidia flushing down, it's at 187s. Google's kind of holding a little bit here though. Black Monday? I don't think it's Black Monday yet. I mean, we're definitely red. But on a percentage perspective, if you take a look at this here. All right, so let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ closed at 25,147. Really, we've just reversed a green day. Like, we opened up 25,360s at the highs this morning at 3 a.m. this morning. We're all the way back down. So we've fallen a lot this morning, but we're not down that much yet today. Like, relative to the previous closing price, we are down currently about 0.3%. So, not Black Monday yet, but we're not even down 0.5%. But it's definitely not looking strong right now. Again, I'm watching 25,000 right here. 25,000 seems like a psychological level. Bitcoin's looking noticeably weaker though. Like Bitcoin looks a little bit weaker than the market, and it keeps cracking lows. It's at 94,260s. 94,260s. Again, we did a poll. Does the market rebound and go green today, or does it continue its downward push? 46% say green, 37% say red, 17% say we go sideways. And I think you also have to look at Nvidia. Nvidia fell from 193 basically all the way down to 187. $92,000, there's a gap for Bitcoin. Bears aren't giving the bulls any chance to get out even. All the red combined the past weeks is still nothing. Yeah, I think we just got to be careful this week. We got a lot of data. Look at Bitcoin crack lows again. Bitcoin is basically at 94,000 again this morning. It's at 94,130s. So maybe we dip into the December and then we do a Christmas rally. Well, we get a Christmas rally this year. Dude, don't even start the 6-7 stuff, bro. I have an 11-year-old. That's all I hear. Buy or sell, chat. Let me know in chat right now. Buy or sell. NASDAQ testing the lows right here at 2554s. Again, here's 94,000 on Bitcoin. It's right below us, but man, we are dropping this morning, chat. It's looking a little sketchy here. A little sketchy. Again, check out Top Steps Funded Account Program. You want to help support the channel. I'll put the link up. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Genuinely useful to learn how to day trade. And most day traders lose, so this limits your risk. Great way to learn. And most day traders lose. Again, I'm biased. I get paid by them, but it's just genuinely useful. $50 a month for the base when you pass it. 50K funded account. 90% split. You fail it, you lose $50. It's the best of both worlds. There's the link. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. But yeah. Let's see what happens here. We're at 2505s. Google's falling back down a little bit as well. Again, Google had the Warren Buffett Berkshire donation, or they bought 4.9 billion or something like that worth of Alphabet stock. And so Google's still green on the day. It's one of the only Mag 7 stocks that is green right now. Let's see, Meta's red. Apple's red. Microsoft's red. Netflix is red. All right, so we got Apple, Meta, Microsoft. What am I missing? Nvidia, definitely red. What are the other Mag 7? All right, we got Meta, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia. What am I missing? Amazon. Amazon's green. So Amazon and Google are some of the only green Mag 7 stocks. Tesla's red. On the day it's under 400s now. It's at 399s. All right, Bitcoin's starting to bounce up, but yeah, Apple's red. What's up, Goose? Los Pollos Hermanos. Yeah, I'm watching Better Call Saul right now. I'm on season 5. Bro, get Beyond Meat out of here, dude. Like, bro, people are just bag holding Beyond Meat, dude. Like, listen. Some of you guys have never been around a pump and dump, and it shows. Alright? I'll put it this way. When Beyond Meat was going up here, when Beyond Meat was doing this, up here, up here, up here, I told people this was never gonna freaking hold. Never gonna freaking hold. And now, and again, you gotta understand, misery loves company, right? So the people that are getting involved with this and buying it at these wild valuations up here for Beyond Meat, they're gonna try to talk you into it. Why? Because misery loves company. And so now you got a bunch of people that bought it way up here, and it's giving back all the gains it made. It's at $1 a share now. But you got a bunch of people that bought it right there. Listen, I feel for you. I'm not making fun of you. But I'm not optimistic it's going to get back up there. Maybe it does. I don't freaking know. I'm not confident in Beyond Meat long-term as a company. I don't think doing a vegan company doing deals with fast food is really going to do anything. And I don't think you got enough people actually interested in eating Beyond Meat. I think the customer base is small. They're struggling to make money. And their trend of the stock is down. Basically, you had your time to make money from BYND. If you're still stuck in it, you know, you gotta be a little bit more, I'm not gonna say less gullible, but a little bit more resilient in terms of people pressuring you to do things. Yeah, gold, guys. Pulling all the way back down too, almost back down to 4,000 a share, or an ounce. Bitcoin just cracked lows again. Here's 94,000. Why are we down today? There wasn't really any news. Markets are just reacting to last week, I think. Honestly, what dragged us back down already was the Empire State Manufacturing data. I think market wants rate cuts in December, especially crypto. And so when something pushes back those odds, like the New York Empire State Manufacturing that showed up at almost 19 at 18.7 versus expected 6, showed much more strength in manufacturing, and yields ended up going up a little bit from it, and Bitcoin ended up going down from this. But the rest of the market almost followed it as well here. So we could be reacting to something else. I'm not sure. Canadian CPI was pretty muted. Canadian CPI was kind of flat, a little bit better than expected. But with Nvidia earnings this week, the Fed minutes report, we got the ADP labor report tomorrow, we got NFP report Thursday, and we got, you know, more stuff next week. All right, NASDAQ just cracked lows. We'll see what happens. I think markets are just scared. Honestly, the Impossible tacos were good too. I just, as good as it is, I don't think it tastes bad. I just think there's a low chance the company succeeds. I don't think it's, let me think of the nicest way to put this. I don't think it's in an industry in which it's going to be easy to thrive in public markets. That's probably the nicest way I can put it. And so because of that, maybe we'll see a lot of manipulation in the stock from, I'm not going to say the CEO's pumping it up, but you know how easy it is to get traders excited about a short squeeze. And that thing squeezed a lot, but again, it was never going to hold. Friday was a trap. See the guy that put his whole 401k at value of 50,000 in Beyond Meat. Depends on where he put it in. Put it in after the pump. Alright, Bitcoin under 94,000. Now it's back over it, but Bitcoin testing 94,000. NASDAQ broke down. Gold's breaking down. Tech is breaking down. Here's Nvidia. So, markets are still looking pretty heavy, in all honesty. Down, quite obvious with all the negative economic news past week. Is it time to buy the dip? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I think it's kind of a sketchy market right now, to be honest. Like, I bought the dip in some stuff, but they're very small positions to where, you know, even if we do have some big correction, I'll lose a very small amount. And so I'm not confident enough yet. Market looks too heavy every day where I wake up and look at it. 25,000 before the open? Possibly. I mean, it's definitely possible. Here's 25,000 right here. So we're not that far away. We can definitely touch 25,000. I don't know if we're going to break down like brutally underneath it, but we're getting close. Bitcoin breaking down as well at 93.9s right now. Market's waiting on Nvidia. Maybe, you know, but that would... You know, I don't know. So Japan is considering spending 110 billion on a new stimulus package as the yen falls to 35-year low. 20-year government bonds for Japan surged almost 3%, the highest level in history, as the 110 billion stimulus package pumps it higher. Yeah, for the yen carry trade, for people to not understand what this means, right? So yen carry, people, U.S. investors buy. U.S. investors, the Bank of Japan generally has low interest rates, right? And so U.S. investors typically try to capitalize on those low interest rate environments with the Japanese yen, to where they use the Japanese yen to buy up a bunch of U.S. assets with it because they get low interest on it. They take leveraged positions and they buy up a bunch of U.S. assets with the Japanese yen because of the low interest rate environment. So we see that a lot, and it can kind of impact markets when there's like more hawkish news. All right, look at the NASDAQ still fall. We're at 25,025 here. Bitcoin breaking down. Nvidia flushing down to 186s here. 25,000 is right below us. It's at like a level below us here at 25. We're at 25.25. Yeah, I mean, we're probably down, what, 0.5% right now. I don't know if we're crashing, but it's definitely looking heavy. I'm not longing right here for sure. That's not cool to do, though. Use your own government to not pay for interest. Yeah, but interest rates here are high right now. You know? We're still at 6. We're, you know, interest rate's still high. What is the federal funds rate? It's like 4.5 to 5%. And that's the point. That's why they go to other countries to do it now, to take out that leverage so they can buy U.S. stuff with, because interest rates are low here. And so we're bouncing at 25.25 right here. Again, we've been bouncing small and then dropping down drastically, though. So, again, Amazon's looking to raise roughly $12 billion from U.S. bond offerings, according to Bloomberg. All right, guys, we got 45 minutes until the market opens here. 45 minutes. This week is an incredibly busy week where we might have a lot of different data reports that could influence what we do in December regarding rates. First things first, tomorrow we got the ADP data coming out, prelim weekly job data. See what that looks like. Wednesday we got the Fed minutes report, and the big boy this week is Nvidia earnings that might influence microchips in a couple week period of weakness here in markets. Thursday we got the delayed NFP labor report coming out Thursday. Again, the delayed NFP labor report on Thursday. And so we will see what happens this week. And then next week, we got PCE data and GDP data and more. So yeah, I'm sure the VIX is higher. The VIX is going to go up as the markets move down. But the VIX is at 21s right now. Bitcoin's still dropping. One of the steeper drops today is Bitcoin. Look at it. Broke all the way under 95,000. This is Bitcoin right here. Broke under 95,000. Still dumping. Dopamine. Yeah, I already covered that. Again, interesting dynamic there. Bond yield surged 2.75%, highest level in history. $110 billion stimulus package. We already had some data, but we're not. That data's done. Point. Again, Amazon seeking to raise about $12 billion from bond offerings. Hey, nice, Kato. Congrats, bro. Yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. We got 45 minutes, or less than 45 minutes. 40 minutes until the market opens. Nasdaq's been weak. Bitcoin's breaking down again. Just cracked that low level again just now. Look at this. Bitcoin's still looking weak. We're not really getting any news. VIX is elevated. Google's breaking down. Nvidia, it's falling down as well here. Markets are still tumbling down today, guys, so just be careful. Be careful. Yeah, there's not really any news to drive this. Honestly, what sparked some of it, look at this drop right here. Bitcoin falling still. There's nothing really to spark this. Look at this drop. We're almost at 25,000 right now. Do I buy the $25,000 dip? I don't think so right now. I kind of want to, but it's too scary. I think it's too heavy right now. Here's 25K, so we're basically at 25,000 right here. I mean, we're still not in a crash. It depends on what you call a crash. Crash is 25%. Short term, you could say it's a crash, but... And again, the weird thing is we don't really have any news to drive this. Not really. Bank of England's man says normalization of wages is underway. Fed fund futures implying 40% chance of a December cut. Yeah, look, after the Empire State data came out showing stronger manufacturing than expected. Look at the odds. We're at 43% to 57% in terms of a December rate cut. A less than 45% chance of a rate cut in December as of now. Again, this is always subject to change, though. It's always subject to change. Evan yelling about a crash just tells me it's time to buy. Not clear news. What do you think it is? Big money pulling out. I think it's just some of the gap fill that we got filling a little bit to me. Maybe odds of a December cut getting baked out of the market a little bit. Maybe I think again, the manufacturing data showed strength. Yeah, but the market's gapped up essentially over the weekend from the Berkshire Hathaway buying almost $5 billion worth of Alphabet stock. And so again, you can see Google up here on the top chart right here. It's still technically green. Here's the previous closing price, and so it's above that now, so it's technically green, but everything else is red. Bitcoin broke down significantly under 94 and 95. NASDAQ came all the way back down, filling some of this upside gap all the way back down to 25,000. Nvidia's down as well from like 93s to 187s where it's sitting now. So I think some of this gap is just filling on the upside. We'll see what the opening bell brings, though. Yeah, I mean, if we get weak NFP data, it should help rate cut odds. On Thursday, we get NFP data. So if we get weak data, it should help rate cut odds. Will we get weak NFP data? Put yes or no in chat. Will we get it? I don't know. What are the chances we're entering a bear market? Well, I don't think it's zero. I think there's a chance we are. But I think definitely not a certainty. Well, again, I said before this happened, and again, I still agree with this, which is that I think a correction is healthy. What I think a correction is healthy. I think we kind of need it. Markets are up extended, and if you want us to avoid a big crash where we're dropping 20, 30, 40%, we need healthy corrections. What do I mean by that? I mean like a 5 to 10% correction and then stability for a little while. I think is a good thing. I think we almost need it. You know, and I know that's not what people want to hear. I know like people want up, 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 higher, higher, higher. But again, you got to remember in the 90s, preceding the market correction and the crash, the dot-com crash, Alan Greenspan did what's called an irrational exuberance speech, where he basically said investors were irrationally exuberant. And you don't want to be irrationally exuberant because that leads to bigger bear markets, bigger corrections. I think a small correction is healthy and normal and something that we need sometimes. And I think the way the markets have been for the last few years has just been up, 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 up. And I don't know if that's sustainable without a big correction, if we continue it. But I think small corrections are probably reasonable. And when I say small, it's in this current context, not necessarily in like, I'm talking like 5 or 10%, which is probably a big correction historically speaking. But I think in this current context, 5 to 10%. Last year and the year before, the NASDAQ did what, like 50% average a year? So I do think 5 to 10% correction, it would be considered small in the current context of markets. Bro. Yeah, James is just a bot or famine or something. I can't really know. Yeah, Bitcoin's technically red on the year right now. Yep. It looks scary. Like I said, it looks scary. I don't know what we're getting right now. It looks scary though. Kit, what are you talking about? A crash is 54% on average? I don't know about that, man. You might be right. Let me look. Okay, so here's the NASDAQ, which is going to have bigger downward moves. I could put a weekly chart up. All right, let's go back to 2008. Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ dropped over 50%. You're correct. Look at 2000. 1,000 we dropped from 5K down to 790. That was like an 80 drop. Yeah, you might be right. I think the minimum is 25% is what we look at though. I think what made me a little bit more confused is that recently we've had a bunch of little mini crashes. But yeah, the point is, I think 5 to 10. You might be right. I think a 5 to 10% drop is healthy. I think we kind of need it. As much as it might freak people out and everybody gets scared, and that's, you know, that's how it goes. Do you know about those two numbers? I do. I have an 11-year-old and a 16-year-old. So yes, I know about those numbers. I know about the number 7 and the number 47. Well, Bitcoin is at like 35% in 40 days. Yeah, Bitcoin's down. Look, it's trying to get back over 94,000. We are seeing some rebounds here in markets. We are starting to see some moves back up. We tapped 94,000. Look at this. We just tapped it for Bitcoin. Back down though, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends, Baked. To be honest, there's a lot of different definitions. But I would agree a short-term 20+% drop in a number of days or weeks is correct. A bear market is longer term. Oh, I do have 100 in that number subs. Y'all help me subscribe, hit the notification bell. Help me bump those numbers up a little bit. Yeah, y'all help me out with that. We gotta get rid of those numbers ASAP. Every time the VIX touches 21 or 22, it bounces. Yeah, it doesn't have much to do with the VIX, though. The market's not bouncing because of the VIX. The market is bouncing. You're talking about the VIX bouncing. The VIX is going to go up when the NASDAQ moves down. So that's what this is. The VIX is going to go up when the NASDAQ moves down because of the volatility from the downward push. That's what this is. Is Williams speaking right now? Let me see. I don't see Williams speaking. I see Jefferson speaks at 9. Kashkari speaks at 1 and Waller speaks at 3:35. You mean Jefferson speaks? Down 65%, 64% in the last 3 months. Shake my head, what did I do wrong? You probably took a little bit too large of size. But it depends on what you're doing. Did you lose that much trading or investing? Either one of them is possible right now. Investing, you got to do a lot of stuff wrong to lose that much, though. Alright, so we're rejecting right here at 77. Look at this drop. Yeah, I was almost about to short this here, but I decided against it. Maybe I should have. Yeah, that's cool, Tiny. NQ is barely red. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the previous closing price on the NQ. It's not super red. Yeah, I mean, again, I said it before. The NASDAQ is not down that much today. What happened is that it just kind of gave back a lot of it was up because of the Google Berkshire Hathaway news. A lot of stuff was elevated. And then they just filled that gap all the way back down and corrected all the way back down. So I see some news that just came out that says XAI could buy chips from Tesla fab. Must tease at annual meeting according to the information. Adding steering wheel to Cybercab would help with regulators. And Musk wants to use Optimus robot for package deliveries. Okay, so Musk wants to use the Optimus robot for package deliveries. Hey, would you let this thing come knock on your door? How would you feel? This thing shows up to give you packages. I'm getting kind of sketched out, to be honest. This thing shows up to deliver packages. I might run. I'm definitely locking my door. Could just kick it down. Like, why wouldn't you just use drones to deliver packages? You know? Yeah. Give him a Master Chief helmet, I might let him in, you know? I may be more willing to accept. So Dell advances enterprise AI innovation with NVIDIA. Let's take a look at Dell stock. Yeah. Get NVIDIA and break it down. Bitcoin trying to get back over 94,000 here, though. Still looking weak here in the NASDAQ. Bank of England's man is speaking right now. They said firms are continuing to factor in inflation into pricing. Ford strikes a deal with Amazon to sell used cars online. Love you. Hey, Jack hasn't been in here. Yeah, robot deliveries, I don't see a point. At this point in time, they could just get like a remote controlled car. The driver wouldn't even have to get out, you know? It'd be better than a robot showing up to my house delivering something. Because the problem is, like, what happens if the robot falls on the ground? You know? Can the robot get back up right now? Some robots can. I might also just hear rumbling around in my front door. And then, you know, like, are they ready for that? I don't think so. Bitcoin back under 94,000. Oh, I understand it saves money. I get it. I get why they want to do it. But again, I think there's more logical ways to do it right now outside of humanoid robots. And again, we're responding to the news that XAI could buy chips from Tesla. It says Musk wants to use Optimus robot for package deliveries. Hey, bud. All right, man. Love you, buddy. All right. No liquidity markets crash. These robot deliveries are coming whether you're not. Yeah, my dogs would freak out. They're freaking out. My daughter used to have a Finn Wolfhard, like, cardboard cutout. Like, almost life-size. It wasn't quite as big, but it was, like, almost life-size. And every time my dogs would go in her room, they were freaking out. They would intruder, you know? And, yeah. So if a humanoid robot showed up, They're freaking out. Yeah, will we continue down today? Bitcoin tried to get back over 94,000 and then completely rejected. We're all the way back down to 93,695s. Drones do feel cheaper. I would assume drones would be the next option. Like, even if the drones were attached to some type of autonomous driving vehicle, that you get to the house, the drone takes off, just flies to their door and goes back. But I guess there's liability concerns with that, since it's like flying. And all right, Nasdaq still flushing under 25,000, under 2550s. I mean, Bitcoin's still looking weak, but it's starting to make another push towards 94,000. Yeah. All right, guys, we got about 20 minutes until the market opens. 20 minutes. Honestly, the news has been kind of light this morning. We had some news. We had the Empire State data and all that stuff come out, but it's been kind of quiet. The biggest news of the day is the Berkshire Hathaway purchase of almost $5 billion worth of Alphabet stock. Google's still green on the day. Nvidia earnings this week. Bitcoin, Nvidia, Nasdaq moving down here. SPY seems a little bit more resilient, less tech-centered, but still breaking down as well this morning. Both of them are slightly red. They were pretty green, though, to start the day. So we've given back a lot of green, and now most indices are technically red today. The issue with drones is how much weight it can actually carry, though. Yeah. All right, guys, we are going to be day trading live today. We'll see what happens. It's a weird market right now. Yields are a little bit higher. They're like 4.1%. Did they drop to 4.1? Let me see. They're at 4.135%. So yields have actually gone up a little bit from the, I would say from the Empire State manufacturing strength data that we got. So yields are actually a little bit higher this morning. The odds of rate cuts have gone down a little bit, but they're slightly elevated. Here's where the day started. Back here. You can see we're kind of elevated. In Fed Watch Tool, data shows 43% to 57% odds of a rate cut next month. We see Tesla coming out with their own cellular service using Starlink. Maybe. Possible. I know they said they're coming out with one, but markets are just scared right now. The mama pawn. Misdirection. Everything's built on misdirection. Understanding that. Yeah. I think markets are just scared right now. I think last week we saw some big red action. This week people are worried about the same. No, Nvidia earnings are Wednesday. Pretty sure they're the 19th. Yeah, 11/19. That's Wednesday. Looking at our poll, we did a poll with a market rebound. 41% say yes. We're still pretty split for bears and bulls. 41% think the market goes green. 40% think the market stays red. 19% think we go sideways. What does it mean when yields rise? Yields and interest rates follow each other, Tiny. So higher yields means higher interest rate sentiment, less likelihood for rate cuts. You gotta, like, so the dynamic is yields and interest rates follow each other. Bond prices and bond yields inverse each other. And so if yields are rising, it means bond prices are falling. And if bond prices are falling, it means we have a higher interest rate sentiment because yields and interest rates follow each other. That's why people watch yields closely. They influence rates. You know, we get something like the super strong Empire State Manufacturing data at 8:30 today. What happens to yields? They go up. Why? Because strength in manufacturing shows less need to cut rates, and so forth. So you can understand those three dynamics. It becomes easier to watch those whole, like, the entire market of bonds as well as interest rates because they play off of each other. I see you, Sam. NASDAQ still testing these lows here. Still breaking down. I think Nvidia earnings could make or break things. I think with all these fears going around, if we get big volatility from Nvidia earnings on the downside, it could exacerbate the drops that we're seeing. I think we could also have a big rebound from Nvidia earnings as well. So I think depends. I have no idea what we're gonna get from it. Yeah, I know I'm gonna be streaming it like I always do, but that there's risks. We also have the Fed minutes a couple hours before Nvidia earnings release, so that's relevant and important to watch too. Yeah, I mean, with Michael Burry, I said it once, I'll say it again. The problem with Burry is that, and again, I think he might be just taking his things private now. You know, like, he's getting out of having to do quarterly filings and getting so much online heat for it. And so he closed Scion down, but he might be just using private money to make the same bets now at this point in time. And I think if he didn't and he's still out, I think one of the problems with Burry is that, again, I've said this a bunch of times, but there's an incentive to prop these markets up. Think about how much money is invested into data centers and AI and technology and Palantir and Nvidia and all of these different things, right? And this is what happened in 2008 with, like, the credit rating agencies in 2008, like Moody's and others. Again, there's an incentive to prop markets that have huge investments up, you know? So there's an incentive to prop these markets up. And so, and I'm sure Burry understands this more than anybody. Still confused regarding yields? Again, yields signify higher interest rates. So if you see yields spike, it means there's less likelihood of cutting rates, higher likelihood of keeping rates restrictive. If yields go down, it means we have an increased chance, or it means there's a lower interest rate sentiment, so there's a higher chance of rate cuts if yields drop. And then with bond prices versus yields, you just inverse that. I don't know. The other thing, though, with Burry is that Burry's been wrong a lot in the last 15 years. So, again, and I said it once, I'll say it again. Burry will slap me with his wallet if he needs to, because he can. But Burry, I'm pretty sure, let me make sure I got the right one. Burry told everybody to sell somewhere around here. You know? Let me zoom out here. Again, Burry told everybody to sell and then deactivated his Twitter account here. You know? And so I'm not saying Burry's wrong. he might be right in this situation. And again, he's got a lot more money than me, higher net worth than me, probably smarter than me, got a lot, more data than I do. But he's not always right. All right, guys, we got 12 and a half minutes. Ugh. All right, I gotta straighten my leg. It's kind of fun. Ugh. Yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Bitcoin fighting its way back up, though. Back over 94,000 here. It's looking better. Morning. We'll see what the opening bell brings us in 12 minutes, but it's looking a little bit better. Did I get my hair cut? I think so. I think my hair is basically the same. A little bit longer now. I have it kind of slicked back, but I haven't gotten it cut in like a month. I've been stuck at home with a bum knee, and so I haven't felt the need to get a haircut because I'm sitting at home playing video games. Yeah. Bitcoin back over 94s, trying to make his way back up to 95,000. We'll see what the opening bell brings us in 11 minutes. I've been having fun playing Halo. Alright, SPY slightly red. Again, here's the previous closing price. Here's the SPY. Previous closing price, SPY. We're very close to green on the day, so we're not super red. Everybody acting like this is some market crash. Maybe we do crash at the opening bell. It's still too early. I haven't played Call of Duty, to be honest, in at least like 5+ years. The last game like that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed Rainbow Six. That was fun. I played Red Dead as well. But the last shooter outside of Halo was Rainbow Six. Call of Duty has just got way too repetitive. Gotcha. Yeah, Battlefield looks fun. I haven't bought it yet though. Yeah, I mean, I used to play GTA a lot. I'll play the new one when it comes out. I'm not going to play the old one right now. Alright guys, Nasdaq's kind of sideways here. Bitcoin's back up to over 94,000, which is a little bit more optimistic look versus what it was a couple minutes ago. I played Counter-Strike a good bit. It was fun. John, when was the last time we reviewed government data? I mean, technically, we looked at the New York Fed data, or New York Empire State Manufacturing data, but I'm pretty sure that's private data. CPI in October. CPI mid-October is the last time. But this week we're back. We got NFP data Thursday, Fed minutes Wednesday, Nvidia earnings Wednesday. Next week we got PCE and GDP data. So the government data is back now, finally. It took long enough. I don't know when we're going to get retail sales or JOLTS or all the other reports that we've missed, but they'll let us know eventually. Yeah, finally. It took long enough. Yeah, no, that's what I'm worried about is Nvidia earnings. Yeah, I never played World of Warcraft. I just didn't have, like, I think I played the Lord of the Rings MMO, like, 15 years ago. 10 years ago, whenever it was. But it's been a long time. I never got into WoW. Yeah, but we got a lot of data coming out. Google and Meta delay Red Sea cables amid security risks, according to them. Again, markets are just waiting right now. 7 minutes here, 7 minutes into the opening bell. We've broken down a good bit. We were really green to start the day. Now we're kind of red, but only slightly red. And so we could really bounce either way here. We'll see what the opening bell brings. I think Friday was a little bit of a relief day after big breakdowns mid last week. And so I'm curious to see what happens. I think it's a really interesting opening bell today, just based off of all the stuff happening over the last week and a half. Government resumed, data's back, rate cut odds are down. NFP reports this week, Fed minutes report, Nvidia earnings was probably the biggest thing. Netflix, 10x split, it's now $110 a share. Yeah, I don't know. Netflix just split. Netflix seems okay. Netflix getting into live sports, I think, is good for the business overall. It might take some time, and it's down significantly as well since July. So Netflix looks a little interesting here. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna buy it. I don't know if I will or not. When WoW was out, I was living with my parents. And like, again, I've said this before, I didn't have a computer good enough to run these games. You know? Again, I'd go buy a game at the store, get really excited about it, go home, try to install it, and then my computer just wasn't having it. Unfortunately. And so, by the time I was old enough to afford my own computer, I just wasn't into World of Warcraft. I played the original Warcraft games on my computer in the 90s, though. I remember playing those. Like, it was kind of like, it was like you'd build houses. It was, I can't remember the name of the view they gave you, but all right, guys. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Nasdaq's right around the lows. Is it the lows of the day? It is. Nasdaq is right around the lows of the day here. Bitcoin's back down to 94,000 spies there. Google, again, one of the things, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, buying almost $5 billion worth of Google. It's still elevated today. Everything else is basically red except for what? Amazon is slightly green, right? No, Amazon just went red on the day too. Look at Amazon breakdown. But Amazon's still slightly red. Where'd the music? All right, look at Meta. Meta just ripped up. Some good news had to happen for Meta. And I'm in Meta, so I love to see it. Greatest thing ever. Meta's flying up right now. Look at Meta. I believe here Meta is going to go up. Somebody tell me what's going on with Meta, because I don't see it. Hold on, let me look this up. I don't know why Meta just ripped. Minecraft? Nah. Minecraft was past my time. Like, I'm old enough to where I feel guilty playing Minecraft. You know? My son plays it, though. My son loves it. Yeah, I still don't know what went on with Meta. I don't know why Meta jumped. Nvidia just cracked lows, though. I don't see any breaking news for Meta either. Weird. Again, the BLS did release an updated times table on when they're gonna. All right, Nasdaq just cracked lows again. Look at Nvidia drop. I don't know why Meta made this big jump. Somebody bought some shares, maybe. Okay, so I see tech giants Cloud Power probed as EU weighs inclusion in DMA, Rawls, Azure, and Google Cloud risk inclusion and use digital law. That's probably what's going on. Nvidia's still breaking down here. All right, we're now under 25,000. Right ahead of the opening bell, we're under 25K here. I remember playing Duke Nukem. I should never have been playing those games with the age I was playing them, but... Alright guys, we're under 25,000. We're back over it though now. Nvidia broke all the way down to 185s. Meta pushed up. Bitcoin's still holding at 94. But we are heading into the opening bell in 1 minute, chat. 1 minute. All right, Nasdaq still flushing here. Meta went green for a second. Google bounced a little bit. All right, here we go. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed, chat. We'll see what happens today. All right, guys, here's the bell. Good luck. Good luck. Let's see what happens today at the opening bell. It's definitely an interesting open. All right, there's the bell. See what happens. Nasdaq flushed originally under 25,000 at the opening bell. Nvidia's still breaking down. Google rebounding up a little bit though, but the Nasdaq's flushing. Look at that red candle. Bitcoin's still holding at 94 though. Nasdaq still turning down. It looks weak, to be honest. Everything looks heavy. Still dropping. Nasdaq all the way down to 24,950 here. Look at Google pop up. Google at 288 almost. Nvidia at 185. And yeah, we are going to be day trading. I gotta wait 5 minutes. That's a big bounce. Again, I'm on Top Steps funded account program. No PDT in futures. Great way to learn how to day trade. Risk 50 bucks to learn. If you fail, you're out 50 bucks. Basically, it's not the end of the world. If you pass it, get a 50K funded account, 90% split. They pay out millions, fund thousands. Top Step X, 0 commission. You can reset funded accounts. Incredibly useful. Remember, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. I'm definitely biased in their favor. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Nothing here is financial advice. Anyways, Nasdaq's still breaking down here, but we did reject at 25,000. Bitcoin under 94s for a split second. All All right, we're popping back up here. Again, I gotta wait 5 minutes, chat. Here, I'll put the Top Step link if anybody wants to check it out. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but it's genuinely useful for traders. You can check it out here. We're trading on Top Step's funded account program as the market rebounds back up. Look at this pop. NASDAQ climbing. Bitcoin bouncing. Google up there. I'll buy a dip now if we get a good, like a decent one. We're only about 3 minutes into the day though, so probably wait just a while. Let's switch. Bitcoin back up. I think there's also like a thesis of choppy sideways action today just because of the economic data, Nvidia earnings, Fed minutes report, ADP labor report, and more. I think we got a lot of stuff that could change the tune of markets today. The markets reacted really negatively to the Empire State manufacturing data showing strength in manufacturing. Pushed back the odds of rate cuts, made yields spike. And so I think markets might be just unsure today. All right, we got a little dip here. I'll try to buy this up, but I think it's small size right now. Might add a little bit to it, but I'll let it go in my favor first. If it... There we go. I'm gonna add to this now. Go. Take that off. Out here. All right, so we're green on the day now. In this, caught the bounce exactly at this level right here, which is good. Bitcoin rising, Nvidia rising. Where's Netflix at? Netflix is flat since the open. Choppy, really. All right, markets are starting to rip back up here. Let's see if we hold. Go ahead, you got Bitcoin almost back up to 95,000. Almost. Nvidia at 187s. Google at 291s. Yeah, Meta's down. I got a little position here. If it breaks down too much, I'll cut it, but all right, so we had Jefferson say available information seems consistent with gradual cooling to both labor and demand. That anecdotal reports about the job market have been mixed. Some firms have slowed hiring or cut back. Others have added employees and investing. He says upside risk to inflation have likely declined somewhat, with tariff effects likely temporary. He also said that balance of risks have shifted in recent months with increased potential downside to employment. He says current Fed policy rate is somewhat restrictive. Still not clear how much government data will be available for the next U.S. central bank meeting. And he says need to proceed slowly as monetary policy approaches the neutral rate. Fed's Jefferson over the last 5 minutes. NASDAQ's pumping back up. Bitcoin back up to over 95 here. Nvidia back up to 188, almost 188. Doing a lot of strength this morning. Hey. All right, guys. NASDAQ is flying back up here. Very strong. Very strong. NVIDIA, Google helping it. Bitcoin back up to almost 96,000 this morning. Looks good. Shorts getting squeezed for sure. Look at the strength here. The range this Bitcoin tapped 96,000. Get a dip down to this previous or this 200 exponential at about 125 or 1. I'll buy it. Gotta wait for it. Still early though, guys. Anything can happen today. Y'all just be careful. I don't want to buy this now, but I gotta wait until 5 or so, maybe 130. Might miss it. Yep. All right, so we pushed up. We're consolidating now. I could have bought it a little bit earlier, but it's all right. Again, I gotta just chill and wait for a larger pullback if we get one. Might not though. We might just rip up here. We already retraced big. Now we're kind of up in a green bar. Bitcoin coming back down a little bit though here. First move is usually the wrong move. Yeah, but it depends on how big the move is, right? And so again, you can kind of see we did this ahead of the open and then this, right? It's pretty rare that we're gonna go all the way back down here. Maybe we do. It's possible. Anything can happen, but depends on how steep the candle is. The candles are. If this is a pretty steep increase, you know. Google also push it back up here. Still testing that top. I'm watching this 185 level right here. Right here. Get over that. All right. Yeah, let's see if we hold. All right, we're testing that 85 level here. Let's see if we get over it. Nvidia looks like it wants to bounce here still too, though. But 85 might reject it. Gold. Out. Slightly red on the day. That 85 level. Rejected. Yeah, we get 125, I'll buy it, but I need 125. This pullback's not nearly large enough. Bitcoin's back to 95K. Yeah, I don't see anything glitching on mine. All right, guys, so we did hold. Now we're making another test of that 185 level. Bitcoin right at 95,000. Right at 95K. Looks like Bitcoin's going to bounce here. Meta looking strong. There's the pop. We're now over that 185 level here. Yeah, Google's ripping up here, almost to 195s. Struggling to hold over 185s though. Here's the Nasdaq come back down. Current administration will present a defense to the U.S. Supreme Court relating to the government's authority to curb asylum claim processing at the U.S.-Mexico border. All right, so now we're dipping back down here, chat. Nvidia now back under 188s. All right, we're at 150s on the Nasdaq here. Look at Nvidia dip. Nvidia at 187s right now. I chop it sideways as we speak here though. Bouncing at 150. Bitcoin bouncing a little bit at 95s. Nvidia bouncing at the VWAP at 187s. All right, Nvidia's mostly been pretty sideways since 9:37 market time. Nasdaq's popping back up there though. We're just in a range here. I don't trust it. Kind of want to buy it though, but if I regret not buying it. Volatile, to be honest. We're making big moves up and down. Bitcoin bouncing right here at 95s. Kind of see that. That is actually green on the day. That's nice. Should have bought it maybe. Should have bought it. And we're still pushing up. I should have bought it, guys. I should have bought it. I blame you guys for not forcing me to buy it. All right, Nvidia back up there. Bitcoin back up there. Yeah, it's the old playlist. It's like really old, like years old. I'll be a buyer all day. Yeah, scared money doesn't make money. I guess you're right. Top 3 scaredest ever right now. Nvidia's still pushing too, and Google's back up there as well. Bear trap, is it even trading if we don't have the duck sell? I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess not. But if it's not trading, what is it? Let me know. I am gonna have to cut out of here a little bit early today. I got some stuff I gotta do. All right. Meta's looking good though. In fact, I might take some profit in. In fact, I think I will. Oh. Jim? I got a bum leg right now, bro. A bum knee. It's the greatest knee ever, but it's not working on quite 100%. I did one of those tests last week. They said it's about 80% of my right knee right now. So it's definitely one of my top 3 best knees right now. But yeah, look, I'm gonna get out of here. Listen, check out Top Step. Beautiful way. Listen, you can limit your risk learning how to day trade with Top Step. $50 for the base one approximately. You pass it, you get a 50K funded account. You fail it, you lose $50 versus funding your own account thousands of dollars like most new traders end up doing and losing money. It makes no sense to do that. Losing way more money, I should say. It's much better to learn to trade with $50 risk. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. It teaches you how to trade under pressure, all that good stuff. It just makes sense. And again, if you want to check out Top Step, I'll put the link up again. Again, I got to get out of here. But as soon as we close this stream, remember, Top Step's a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but genuinely useful. Genuinely useful. Yeah, definitely one of my top 10 knees of all time. Let me know who's the top 9 though. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Where am I going? You want my social number too? How about my mother's maiden name? I can get you that as well. It's Steve. Listen guys, y'all be good. Have a great day. As soon as I close this stream, it's gonna immediately bring you to tomorrow's stream. Tomorrow we have ADP payroll numbers. Be ready. We'll cover it live. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Be green today, guys. Don't be red. Top 3 greenest ever. I'll see you guys tomorrow.